Look at this tiny fighter. He stands at just 5'3", weighs around 140 pounds, and he's considered one of the greats in the sport, having a Hall of Fame-worthy career.
Demetrious Johnson, oh my good, he is so damn good. He is so damn good. It's hard to top it. This is a video game character, guys.
Abused by his stepfather as a child, he was raised by a single mother who was deaf. He had to juggle MMA with his full-time job until his first UFC title fight. Despite all this, he rose up the food chain to be considered among the greats in the business. Not the loudest character on camera, so who knew this diminutive African-American fighter would go on to be one among the very best MMA has to offer?
Demetrious is very clearly the #1 pound-for-pound fighter ever. He's clearly the GOAT, but I hear him left out of a lot of GOAT conversations.
What are the odds, ladies and gentlemen, of achieving a legendary status? However, not many are aware of the difficult journey he endured to reach that level. While challenging upbringings are common in the sport, Johnson's background is particularly remarkable. Let's take a closer look at this legend and the trials and tribulations of his life that he faced before becoming a champion in the game. Let's kick it off. Born in Kentucky 1986, DJ spent his childhood in Washington, where he was mostly raised by a single mother alongside an older sister and a younger brother.
I was raised by my mother, who's deaf. I didn't realize it until my sister told me that.
His early athletic interests included wrestling. At the age of 13, DJ discovered martial arts and quickly developed a strong affinity for the sport.
I had an abusive stepfather, and he just took an abusive route, putting us in the corner for 15 minutes, getting whipped. One thing it did, it made me mentally tough.
He was motivated to explore MMA more seriously after watching an MMA-based reality show, The Ultimate Fighter. This piqued his interest in the fighting business. Johnson was initially scouted by Matt Hume, who was a known figure at the time, training some UFC talents in his gym. Subsequently, DJ joined AMC Pancration, a facility still managed by Matt Hume, where DJ continues to train to this day. Within 3 months of enrolling there, Mighty Mouse embarked on his amateur career. Leveraging his wrestling experience and natural athleticism, he went on to win the bout. This came as a turning point in his life. Despite doing well on the fighting front, he juggled a full-time job alongside his training until he secured his first title fight in 2011. That is some dedication to the game and highlights the struggle he went through. Managing work and training proved challenging. He used to work in a construction facility. In an amateur fight, DJ fractured his hand and required surgery to insert the metal rod. Despite all this, he continued his full-time work obligations. As fate would have it, he excelled in his passion so much so that it became his full-time job. The hard work and sacrifices he had made to reach that point made the success even more rewarding. After making a strong impression in the amateur ranks, Johnson went professional in 2009. He signed up with World Extreme Cage Fighting in 2010. In his debut fight in the WEC, he got a unanimous decision loss to Brad Pickett. Not a start any GOAT contender would like to have on their record. A year later came his move to the UFC, as WEC was bought out by Zuffa-led UFC. Another 2 fights, and he was up there challenging Dominic Cruz for the UFC Bantamweight Championship. Another unanimous decision loss was on the cards. DJ kept the fight relatively close for 2 rounds, but was ragdolled after that. Cruz secured takedowns at will to get the nod from the judges. Again, a big moment in his career came and he blew it. It seems he wasn't made out to be a champ in the UFC at the biggest organization of them all. It's okay, there are plenty of contenders who came and saw the bright lights of the UFC and have had their fair share of knockouts and crazy submissions that make the crowd go berserk. But there comes a time, a reality check, when they are fed to some hungry wolves up top and they falter. Moving past this defeat, he moved down a weight division. This was a new division, a new start. He was chosen to be part of the 4-man flyweight tournament for the UFC's first UFC flyweight champion. He won the tournament against Joseph Benavidez, thus becoming the first flyweight champion in the UFC. Winning the UFC championship is a monumental achievement in a fighter's career. Once a fighter secures that title, the focus shifts to defending it, and this is where legacies are truly forged. This was just the start of a reign of dominance in the division for the next 6 years straight. He defended his title and achieved an impressive 11 successful title defenses, a record that will be extremely difficult to surpass. Take a look at the wins he had during that reign. John Dodson, Henry Cejudo, Joe Benavidez, and against Japanese challenger Kyoji Horiguchi, he rewrote the history books by getting the latest submission in UFC history at 4 minutes 59 in the 5th round at UFC 186. Another picturesque moment came when he submitted Ray Borg, highlighting Johnson's dynamic skill set. That was magic in the octagon, and it will surely go down as one of the greatest UFC submissions of all time. Finally, somebody stood up to his level. He lost the belt to a razor-thin split decision against Henry Cejudo. Many called it a robbery and a plot by the boss Dana White. It was in public that White never fancied the flyweight division, and he always insinuated that DJ being on top was to blame for it. After such a Hall of Fame UFC career, many wondered what was next for him. Some thought of a rematch with Cejudo, others inclined towards a possible rematch with Dominic Cruz, or a money match at bantamweight. Dana flushed all of that down the toilet when he announced an historic trade with ONE Championship. A blockbuster deal, one of a kind, where DJ went to ONE, and the UFC got the semi-retired, undefeated ONE champ, Ben Askren. Right from the start, it was visible that ONE got the better end of the deal. What happened with Askren? Let me be kind. He went out of the UFC with a single win. Yes, folks, that lawless submission still counts as a W for the funky one. Poor Dana White, but who cares? DJ got what he wanted, a new challenge in ONE Championship. His first assignment inside the ONE circle was a flyweight World Grand Prix in 2019, which he eventually won. Johnson was scheduled to face flyweight champion Adriano Moraes in early 2020 for the belt unification. However, COVID had some other plans. We waited another year, and in April 2021, Johnson lost to Moraes by knockout in the second round, the finish coming from a knee and subsequent punches. He took a hiatus from the ring. Next year, he came back for a fight with Rodtang Jitwongnon in a special rules super fight. He won this entertaining bout with a rear naked choke before surviving a Muay Thai barrage in the first round. He then got a rematch with Moraes and won the fight spectacularly, using a similar technique that Moraes had used in their previous fight. That was some revenge. They met for a third time in May 2023, and Johnson again emerged victorious. Then came a day that all MMA fans were begging not to come, but age catches up, man. They say leave the game before the game leaves you, and DJ will always be an embodiment of that phrase.
Mighty's out. Oh, they wanted me to leave the belt in here. I ain't doing that shit. I came into this sport as a champ. I'm leaving my black as a champ too. Oos!
This was a very thought-out decision. We all wanted to see him compete in the ring once more, but why give someone an opportunity to beat him and then add to their legacy, or whatever? Chatri, my man.
He is not only the greatest mixed martial arts of all time, but also the first inductee to the Hall of Fame in ONE Championship, DJ!
Props to the ONE CEO who did what Dana would never have done in a million years as the UFC boss. Chatri made Mighty Mouse the first inductee into the ONE Hall of Fame. What a befitting honor bestowed upon the flyweight GOAT. So what legacy does DJ leave in the MMA world? In simple words, Hall of Fame worthy. Don't get mad at me if I mention him as the flyweight GOAT. The reason, he himself has confessed that John is the overall GOAT in MMA. While the jury is out, that topic is for another day. Johnson has always been recognized as an intellectual fighter, and he applied the same logical mindset to his retirement. As the most accomplished flyweight in MMA history and one of the sport's greatest, Mighty Mouse has set a precedent for future generations. Wishing him the very best for the future. We are at the tail end of the video, so before you go, if you're still interested in the GOAT debate, have a look at why Jon Jones is the top candidate for it and how Dana White privilege helps his case.